All right, so about 5 months ago, I started doing this video, and we kind of had to quit because the weather just actually turned really, really crappy. And the scenario is a buddy of mine, Brian, he was down here splitting this big, huge pile of wood, and you'll see in the video here the splitters that they were using. And I said to him, I said, hey, Brian, I said, I got a splitter I'd like to give you a chance to try here. And it is a Wolfridge splitter that I got through Wolfridge, and you guys that are familiar with my channel know that I've been working with Wolfridge, doing videos and things for them on this different splitters. And at this point, I've already sold 2 of their splitters to semi-local people around here. Brian just happens to be down the road, so stop by. They're splitting all this wood, and I says, hey, let me bring this splitter down and give it a try. And I guess from there, let's go ahead and bring Brian in, and we'll talk to him about his initial reaction. For any of you long-term subscribers, you've seen Brian before here. We did a tour of his facility, showed his plant.
Occasionally I show up.
Yeah, showed his plant and everything that he's got going there. And neat thing is Brian likes to work just as hard with the guys in the business as he does working on the business. So, you know, I stopped over here and Brian's out splitting these logs up, and I'm like, man, you have no idea what you're missing. And I guess here we stand today, 5 months later, and you actually own the splitter now.
I do.
Give me a little bit of insight when I come wheeling in with this thing, because I don't think you've ever seen one of these before.
No, I don't think anyone's ever seen them unless you're in the the wood processing industry.
Yeah.
It all kind of started for me is I own some property here locally, and they're daylighting the road, and it was all premier trees that hadn't been cut in probably 100 years, just because they were all hanging out over the road. And somebody went through all the efforts to cut them. They said, well, we'll just get rid of the wood. And I said, no, I want it. And I had this mountain of firewood, and I got 20 guys down here, and now I've got all this. There was logs at the time. So I'm out here, I got 3 splitters running, and they're all 30, 40 years old, homemade, this or that. And you're bent over, and your back hurts, and you're lifting, and you pulled it. And the weather was starting to turn on us. And you said, hey, I got the tool for the job. And he brought it down here, and this thing cuts 3 to 4 times faster. I'm not tearing up my arms and my tendons and bruising myself trying to lift up on this splitter. When he brought it in here, I mean, it looks nice, and I couldn't imagine that it could be so much faster than the traditional splitters. I really couldn't. Yep. But it's built so well, and I appreciate American-made stuff, and I appreciate quality. And so I'm like, and anytime Doug has anything, it's always, if you know Doug and his channel, and we do. Yeah. So I was very thankful for him coming in here. And then I started splitting with it, and I'm like, I have to own this. I cannot go back to using the wrong tool for the job ever again. I absolutely love having the proper tool for the job. What a difference.
One of your comments in there, and you guys will see this in the video, is if I can afford this, I'm going to own this thing. Say that again.
If I can afford it, I will own this. It's not if, it's when.
I think that these splitters are that impressive. The newer commercial grade splitters.
I don't even know how to articulate how much better this splitter is than the traditional splitter. Even if you have the upright splitters, you can stand up. This thing is just, it's superior in every way. The way it's built, the construction, the way they thought about how to process the wood from the way it lifts the logs up, the way they slide across the table. It's just so much faster.
And you made the comment, go back to the log lift on that. You've never had a log lift on any of those little splitters, and you'll see it in the video. Those little splitters don't have log lifts. You're not really accommodated or have seen those before. So when you got that, you're thinking, man, this is kind of nice. But what you realized is your back was hurting you at the time.
Yeah, it was.
And you could still go out and split wood because this splitter didn't require you to physically pick these up.
Right.
Although maybe in the thumbnail that I've got.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't be all show and no go.
Right. Right.
But I mean, as far as just moving through, for me, it goes down to having the right tool for the job. Yep. And when there's a better tool out there, I want a tool that's this much longer and that much better than the neighbors.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
There you go. And we've got this mountain of firewood that most of this was split with those little cheap splitters.
The majority of it, yeah.
It's impressive what they did with those splitters, but we'll take a quick look over here, and he's still got a considerable amount of wood to finish splitting up over here. He's got his brand new Wolfridge 17 VS sitting here. I had this splitter, the 17 VS, and I also had a 28 Pro that Wolfridge gave me, 28 Pro C, and they gave me these splitters to do videos on my channel. And in doing that, reached out and informed people that, hey, these splitters are for sale, so they don't have to take them back. And I guess it works pretty well for Wolfridge and myself. I get to use them, I get to make videos with them, and then if I get a chance, I can actually sell them for them, and I kind of enjoy being able to do that. Brian's got a brand new splitter here that he worked through Wolfridge and Bob Nelson there, so maybe another week or two you'll get to meet Bob. He's coming back through this way.
I'd love to meet him.
We just literally got back from a show over in Ohio, Joe's Ohio Wood Burner. I picked up a couple new items from Joe's show that we'll pop back over to the house and I'll show you those. One of the biggest things that we talk about, and you know, I showed you when we're working on this thing, is just to be careful with it. It'll take your finger off too if you're not paying attention. So I guess that's really all that I ask is enjoy it, split up a lot of wood, and be careful with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just so fast. You know, the vertical splitter versus traditional horizontal splitter is so quick. The foot pedal, your hands are both free. You kind of get in the zone of what you're doing. It's one of those things where, you know, a lot of people may have a firewood party and they use the old splitters, get a few of them, they have beers, and this is not a splitter you want to have alcohol with. It's almost like a sports car, you know what I mean? But you move through your project so quickly that it's going to pay for itself in my time.
Yep.
My back, you know, I get to save my back. I get to save my, you know, those big logs were tearing up my arms. To spend that kind of money on a log splitter is difficult to justify. But when you start factoring the time and the wear and tear on your body, it was a very simple decision.
Right. And I think of all people I know, you owning a multi-million-dollar manufacturing business can appreciate having the right tool for the job.
Oh, I love it.
And again, that's what stuck out to me that you were so passionate about when you ran this thing, is this is the right tool for the job.
Oh, absolutely.
And you'd been working with, I don't want to say the wrong tool, but you just I guess didn't know what else was out there.
One of the splitters was 30 years old and it was home built. The other two were, you know, from box stores, and they were relatively older ones, and it's American made, it's quality. I mean, it's got a 1/2-inch plate steel on almost all the construction. It's just, somebody spent hundreds and hundreds of hours designing this. In the nature of what I do, I recognize that instantly when I see somebody that has something or is producing something that is just far superior.
So I guess with that being said, I would like to welcome you to the Wolfridge family on behalf of Wolfridge.
Thank you very much, sir.
So again, if there's anything I can bring around to help you.
How much money is it going to cost me next time?
Yeah, well.
But hey, it's actually saving me time and money in the long run. You know, it's an investment in the future. I'll have this splitter the rest of my life. This is the type of product that, you know, as long as I throw a tarp over it, my kids will own this splitter. Yeah. It's built that well. You know, the only thing you're going to replace on its tires and maybe a hydraulic line years down the road. But it's just, I hate to even call it a log splitter because it's not anything like when you say log splitter, you think of log splitters. This is a completely different realm. There's something about firewood, it's just good for the soul. Yep. You know, I mean, human beings have been burning firewood since we had fire. Yep. And there's just something about it. It's therapeutic. It's a great workout. It's just good for the soul.
Well, Brian, I appreciate it. Thank you for, I guess, purchasing this through Wolfridge. And hopefully, like I said, you'll get to meet Bob here in a couple of weeks.
Looking forward to it.
And thank you for helping me finish this video out. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And just like that, we're back at the house again. Wanted to show you what I brought home from the Ohio Wood Burner International Firewood Expo. And this was kind of in the works with Bob and Wolfridge. But he had asked me, you know, being that I sold the other vertical splitter, did I want to try a different splitter? Did I want to do something different? You know, bring something else home for the channel to do videos on? And I said, I'll be honest with you. I really like the vertical splitter. I have no interest in anything out there that you guys have to offer other than the vertical splitter. So I brought the 17 VS back home. Something you'll notice about it is it's a color that's never been done before. And that was one of the nice things that Bob had asked. He says, hey, what color do you want? And I said, you know, boy, I'd really like to do a custom color. and they are very, very easily adaptable to that. Do what you'd like. So what I got was what I call like a desert sand or desert tan, but it's really a Can-Am tan is what they call it. I absolutely love the color red. It's been the same color of my truck for the last 20 years. It's the color of my Jeep. It's the color of all my vehicles. I really enjoy the red, but for this particular instance, I would have picked another red one. But here's the thing. This thing is going to be sitting over in the wood yard during the day, and you can actually see the wood yard from the road. And I didn't want this very odd looking red thing just standing out in the middle of the wood yard saying, "Come steal me," or make someone nosy. So it is kind of camouflaged over in the wood yard with this color. It doesn't stand out. It doesn't pop like the red one. But actually, I kind of really like that color. With the tan and the black, it goes very well together. Added some color to the wolf on here. Give that a good look now so it stands out. A couple things with this splitter is I did get the optional LED lights, and we'll take you around back here. And it also came with the optional oil cooler. They have redesigned the tabletop on this thing. They took out the sweeping radius on that end. They put a bent lip on the top, a little bit of an angle on the top. And one of these days I'm going to get this over side by side with the one that Brian just bought and do some comparisons to each other. Couple different things I've noticed with the older one. It had the telescoping legs. This one does not for the jack stands. The table does stick out a little bit further. Some other things I've done to this. I added a little hook point here. So one of the things I hate is having these chains and the plug cord dangled down, all that. So you got this here that plugs into your vehicle, tow vehicle. You got your chains here. Well, you can take and throw them over the top, but it just looks like garbage. Then that ends up getting dragged through the dirt. Those get dragged around. It just doesn't make it nice. So that's why I've come up with a bracket. And I just made this up, bent it a couple dimes, welded on another bracket. Gonna go through there. We'll bolt it down to the top of that. And then what that does is gives me a place to hook my chains and hook the trailer plug. All right, there, I got the bracket done. It's basically just a dummy plug that I put on there. I got it at one of the Tractor Supply stores. Ran a hose clamp through it, and there's my bracket, the tab that it was on. Put this down through. And there, just like that, got a place to plug in the trailer wiring harness when I'm not using it. Just so I could wrap it one time, bring it back around, plug it in. Keeps it up and out of the way. Now for the chains, same thing. Bring them up, drop it into each hole on each side. And I made it specifically so those wouldn't latch on there and become a real pain to remove them, but come off real quick and easy. Just a simple place to hold your trailer chains and your wiring harness. Something I like to do, or when I run this splitter, is I like to clean this whole tray area out. It does on occasion get stuff falls back in behind here, and it makes it nice to be able to come in here and blow this out. So what I do, or what I've done with this, is I've rerouted all the wiring in this, everything that goes under here, the wires for the lights, the wire for the oil cooler, the wire for the voltage regulator, all that. And what I've done is I've taken everything and got it up off the tray. So now it makes it really simple and easy to blow and clean that whole thing out. I changed the voltage regulator to put it up here. I removed it from the pan, it was right here, and put it back up there. Just drilled and tapped 2 holes in there. Run the wires back around behind that. Zip tied them with this and come back here. The only thing I had to do was add on a little bit longer to the ground wire up to this. Now, I wasn't sure if there's a purpose that is grounded to the starter on that or not, but I didn't want to change it and do something different and have somebody say, well, you know, you screwed up, you shouldn't have done that. So I regrounded it back to the actual spot where it was grounded. Didn't know if it needed grounded to the engine or if I could clean off the frame and do it there, but boy, I really didn't want to scratch the powder coat off to do that. So just some different things that I've done to this to, I guess, make it work a little bit better for me. I see also that they've added this debris tray. So when you have stuff that comes down off of here, it drops. It doesn't drop into the base of the machine anymore, which is a big help for when you need to clean that out. So now you can just take and clean this right out, drops on the ground. But I do plan on doing a whole bunch of videos with this. We'll do some comparison videos. I cut down a whole bunch of trees, and I've got them all ready to go over there. I've got more than a triaxle load to go. And in a world where everybody's going with high-speed processors and all that, I guess with my handicap, high speed and losing my hand or losing my finger is not something I want to be involved in. I want something like this where I can kind of keep track of where my hands are and I guess just enjoy a day out splitting instead of the fast pace that everybody else is looking for. I understand it for when you're trying to do production, you're trying to make a bunch of firewood fast. I'm just doing it for the fun of it. Something else I brought back from over at the expo is a firewood bagging station. And those of you with a keen eye might see something different that I've done to this thing. I won't give that all away, but we'll go over that a little bit more in its own video and talk about some of the things I've done with that. And like Bob says, just can't leave well enough alone. But anyhow, I want to thank Bob and Chris over at Wolf Ridge. Can't thank them enough for all they've done for the channel and everything that they've allowed me to do on the channel with using their machine. And also glad Brian is enjoying his new splitter. If you're not a subscriber, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to throw the thumbs up. Let me know what you think of the color. Is that something that you would like, knowing that it's going to be in the woods? Instead of sticking out like a sore thumb, I'd rather have it kind of hidden in camouflage back there. Let me know what you think. Thanks, and we'll see you again soon.